Hello there, I'm Dave from Dynobike, and today we have a Husqvarna 701 to tune. This one has got an Arrow half system on it, which does remove the catalytic converter, and I'm just doing my preliminary runs on it to see where it is at right now, and I have to say it is pretty average as I expected. If you were watching the AFR graph while we were running it, you could see that it was quite lean, cruising on low throttle, medium throttle, and even medium high throttle, and even at wide open throttle it spikes up very lean to start off with before it actually comes back down. So looks like I've got a little bit of work to do on this one, and I know a lot of guys are pretty interested in the outcome and what we can do for it. Customers that have been calling me have said they don't really need any more horsepower, which I get, because this thing's got 65, 66 horsepower now, so if you're in the bush you probably don't really need any more than that. But the complaints have been that the mid-range is lacking and it's unresponsive, and a little bit more torque down low would be a good thing. So let's tune it. I think we'll probably get them that sort of a result, and we'll, as I said, tune it and see what we do get. I think that pretty much sorts this bike out. Got those air-fuel ratios down to a nicer level, 12.5 to 13, which is where we want to see them, especially on a dirt bike that tends to generate a lot of heat, because at times there's not a lot of airflow going on. You might be going slow, navigating some narrow fire trails and trying to avoid all the trees and all that sort of stuff. So these things will get pretty hot, especially if they're deliberately running lean as they are OEM. So we have picked up some mid-range power. I'll show you all that stuff in a moment. We just want to go over the graphs, go over the fuel maps first before I do that. But anyway, it's jumped up a little bit top end wise, not very much, and I didn't expect it to anyway. But the mid-range is substantially better than what it was before, and I'm sure that this guy will instantly notice the improvement the next time he rides this bike. So anyway, I'll jump across to the computer now and we'll have a look at the mapping and what we have done, and then we'll have a look at the final result in terms of AFRs in the real world and the horsepower. Right then, bunch of parameters here. If you scroll down this side here, there's lots of them. We have deactivated the O2 sensors, exhaust air valve control, we've deactivated that. Catalyst protection hasn't got a cat in it anymore, so we've deactivated that, and a few other bits and pieces there as well. And then of course we have adjusted the maps. As you can see there, the red bits highlighting increases. If we saw some blue numbers there, we would have been removing fuel, but in this case, because they do run quite lean, we have added quite a lot of fuel pretty much everywhere. If we look at that as a percentage, you can see there the percentage numbers. So for example, at 2000 RPM and about 7 to 9% throttle, we've added 10% fuel. So if we go down here to 3.5 grand, where we're starting to get into it a little bit, we've actually added about 20% fuel pretty much all the way across there. And same with here, we see all these numbers here, they're all at 20. Down here we're looking at 26s, so on and so on. Over here we've got some 26s as well. So yes, we have added quite a lot of fuel to this bike. Now let's just switch over and have a look at the 3D map. It's always good to check the 3D map. You don't want to check it like that. That's set up as percentage. So that is all looking pretty good also. It's important to look at these things here because we don't want to see, you know, a sudden spike in the map. You don't want to see something that's suddenly doing something like that, right, which sometimes will be there. If we switch back to text format, you can't see that, you can't tell what that's, you can see there's a number there, but you don't really know how much that has actually gone up by until you look at it in 3D comparatively against the breakpoints all the way around it. You can see all of a sudden it's demanding a lot more fuel at that point. No, you don't want to see, things like that happening. We want it to be nice and linear. It's linear. It's like a wave or a set of waves that are coming into shore. They're all pretty consistent. You can see them out the back as they roll in. Right? You don't see one that's suddenly got a big spike in it anywhere. If it has, it's probably a shark or something coming out of the water or someone diving into the water. So we want to see that when we look at these maps like this, it's nice and flowing. You can see there's a gradual build up as we build up in revs and throttle position, and that is a pretty good looking map. Okay, so let's jump over here to what that means at the rear wheel on this bike. So this is wide open throttle. That number 80 up there tells me it's wide open at 80. It has 67.3 horsepower, and this fuel graph, which is what I'm most interested in, is nice and straight. Beautiful. Getting down there to a little bit under 13 as the revs build up. That is a good one. Let's compare that with what it was stock. So the blue line is the stock graph. Yeah, the red line is what it is now. And look at this big lean spot in here that it had. Massively lean. That's up at 17 to 1 there. And it gradually comes back down again and gets down in under 13. And see, this is why I didn't expect to see much gain up here, because the fuel is pretty good up here anyway. So that's wide open throttle. Let's get a better look at that. We'll just change it to single graph. You can see that one a little bit better now. So at maximum RPM it's jumped from 66 to 67, only 1 horsepower. The mid-range, this area in here is the key to it though. Let's have a look at this, 27 to 30. That's going to be very noticeable. Riding it in around from 3.2, 3.3 through to 5-6 grand, which is probably where most people spend most of their time. If we look at the torque, that should also be equally as impressive, which it is. So it's much more linear, it's climbing much stronger there, it's not dropping off. Much flatter torque curve everywhere when you're giving it wide open throttle. So let's just swap over now to the AFRs. We'll have a quick look at what they were for smaller throttle openings. AFR 1 I think it was, so that's that one. Bugger that one off. So here's, no, that's also at 100%. That one there, I think. So there's one at 20% throttle. It's nice. Let me just highlight that a little bit better. That is good. It's in the zone. Right? Now we could go in there and muck around with this bit some more. Okay. At the end of the day, it's not going to make any difference to the way this bike rides or what the rider feels when he's riding it. Because as I say, it is in the zone. Let's have a look at another one here. Go up to 40% throttle. It's pretty much the same deal in there. Getting a bit rich in there. I think I actually fixed that. I don't think that's like that now. Pretty sure we sorted that one out. Let's have a look. No, we didn't. Okay, so I just need to go back in there and just tidy that little piece up there a fraction. But as you can see, that's what it was doing. 40% throttle, and this is where it is now. So that can only be better to ride and feel nicer when the bike is being ridden. Can't go wrong with that. So anyway, that pretty much sums that up. We go back and have another little look at how much horsepower this thing is producing. Yeah, back to horsepower. So after the tune, there's what we've got. Before the tune, that's what we had. Yeah, that's a nice little improvement. Now bear in mind, this bike has got a road tyre on it, so if you're going to run a bike on a dyno that's still got the knobby on it, then you probably aren't going to see these sorts of numbers. Okay, you'll see some changes if you do actually adjust the fueling, but you probably won't see these numbers of 65 to 67 because it's got a knobby tyre on it, and the tyre tends to slip a little bit more on the drum than a road tyre does. But it's this area here which is most noticeable, in and around here. That's really nice. So there you go, that's about it. Husky 701 or KTM 701, whichever one you've got, they're both the same. As far as I'm aware, I'm talking EU5 version, Euro 5, pretty much tuned. We have tunes here for them. You can go to the online store dynobike.com.au and order a flash tune from the flash tune drop down menu. Print the receipt off, put it with the ECU, ship the ECU to us. We will write a new tune file to it and then ship it back to you, or feel free to call us, or again on the online store go to custom dyno tunes that you can book yourself in for a tune if you so wish. That's about it for me. Thanks for watching. I'm Dave from Dyno.